I actually have changed my tune on this a little bit. I really thought at first when this offseason, I thought 2021 is pretty much a make or break year for JP Crawford. But I think the pandemic, the shortened season, the way that clubs, including the Mariners, are kind of approaching this offseason, and the Mariners are a little bit different than some of these other teams because they are in rebuilding mode still. But I think where I'm at on Crawford now is he's probably going to get 2 more years. But I do want to touch on this. I don't think projection systems like Zips and Steamer and things like that are good for real life baseball purposes. They're a volume play. They're going to throw projections at every player, and they're going to be right a lot because there are projections on every player. They just are. And I think those things can help one make a fantasy baseball decision, or if you're making a bet with your buddies. But when you're really trying to talk about specific individual players who are all different physically, mentally, they have different experiences, they're being developed by different philosophies, being taught by different voices. Not to mention that player development is so different in 2021 than it's ever been before. It could take decades for those projection systems to catch up to that. Having said that, it's far from difficult to see Crawford basically repeat what is basically his career slash. I think that's, I wrote it down here. Hang on. It's 231, 325, 359. 231, 325, 359. And if that does occur, if that's what Crawford hits, Seattle's probably going to have to think about jumping into the market for shortstop help. They're going to have to think about it. What this doesn't necessarily mean, what I don't think it means at all, is superstar shortstop. They got to go trade for Trevor Story. They got to go sign Trevor Story. They got to go sign or trade for Corey Seager or Javier Baez. It doesn't mean that at all. And I know we've covered this before, but I think it bears repeating. Crawford's swing for me is not conducive to hitting for average. He doesn't have enough bat speed / strength to hit for power. I don't think that swing suggests he can hit with consistency. I don't like it at all. Again, it's average bat speed, and yet his hands are both too high, in my opinion, and a bit too far back away from the pitcher. I think he's better off simply shortening up and hitting for average and using his above average discipline to get on base. I also see some balance issues when you look at the mechanics. He's on his back foot pretty heavily, very early in his swing, which theoretically will restrict plate coverage, and I think that actually comes to fruition here, unfortunately. And he pulls up early. You see his head and his hands and when the head moves and the shoulders move, the hands are going to go with it. So when he pulls up early, despite the bat path that he attempts to create, this is going to result in more ground balls and a lot of weak contact.